Hello guys, and welcome to the Patrick Fox Show. I have Will Bolsky here. He's going to be the guest for today. We're going to be talking about gaming, mostly talking about why he got into YouTube and stuff like that. So Mr. Will, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, Pat.
Hello sir, how are you doing?
I'm always good.
Yeah. It's like I was explaining to a friend of mine. He was saying, "How many subscribers do you want to get to?" And it's like, if I just say I reach 400 and I stay at 400 my whole YouTube career, I'm be so grateful for that. But there'd be 400 people in the world that want to watch my content, and for me, even now that's still amazing to me. Like, wow, 400 people actually want to listen to what I have to say.
No, Pat, I totally agree with you because I keep thinking, it's kind of funny because. My whole family and my wife and stuff don't think I'm funny, but every single person on the comments says that I'm hilarious. And it's like, okay, I don't even know what I am anymore.
But it's not necessarily being funny in the way of, how can I put it? It's unintentional humor, if you know what I mean. It's the personality more than anything else.
That's the thing. I've always been into, like I work in radio. And I used to do acting when I was younger, and I actually got into an acting school in New York and stuff. And it's just I absolutely love playing video games, and I've always kind of talked to myself during video games. So then finally I'm like, yeah, I know I'm 31, but this is something that I love to do, and it's awesome.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I sat around for a while and thinking, what can I do different? What can I do that's different to what's out there? And every time I thought I came up with an original idea, someone had done it. So it's like, why not just do what I enjoy doing? And if people want to watch it and subscribe and comment and like, then it's a bonus. Yeah,
I totally agree with you. Because whenever I rewatch my videos, I laugh my ass off because I'm like I don't know. I always especially with radio and everything, and I go on the air almost every day with our host and everything, and I'm constantly critiquing myself. And I've noticed that I say yeah, no, or and it's just one of those things that because I have experience in radio and stuff like that, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of subscribers and viewers don't see a problem, but it's like I know how it is when it comes to radio and stuff. Yeah. So it's a little bit different. But getting back to freedom, it's just I don't know. I mean, what George has created, but I don't think it's just George. It's all of us in the community, actually just helping each other, and doing whatever we can and giving feedback and stuff like that. And like you said, right now I have 334 subscribers, and I've been on YouTube for 4 months, and I never would have thought this. I remember at the start reading all that stuff about sub for subs and buying views and stuff. I'm like, you know what? I've never done anything like that in my life. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it the right way, and I'm never going to take a route like that. That's just not in my DNA. My dad always said, if you're going to do something, do it right. Yeah. And give it 100% or don't do it at all.
Well, for me, it doesn't make sense to go for sub because it might help your subs grow, but you're still not getting people going onto your videos. If it's a sub for sub, they might not even be interested in what videos you do. It's just for a sub. So it's not beneficial to either party because I'll be flooding their timeline with videos that they don't want to watch, and I'll be having someone in my in my subscriptions box who doesn't want to be there. I wouldn't like yourself. I'd never go for sub because it doesn't benefit anyone.
It doesn't. And then you got other people. I never thought I love doing the up and comers, but I never thought it would get the reaction that it's getting. I mean, people absolutely love it. And I think the one thing that's different that I think really helps is the fact that a lot of people, whenever they do a shout out series, you have to sub to my channel or you have to comment on 5 videos or whatever. It's like, no, if you're sub to me, if I like your content, you'll eventually be on the show. I'm not going to tell you. You just got to watch the episode and you might be on there.
Yeah, fair enough.
you see all over YouTube, call to action, tell people to subscribe. It's like, you know what? I'll tell them to, hit the like button if they like it. And if they're not subscribed, if you want to subscribe, cool. If not, then, then that's great, and if you don't, then, well, at least you came by my channel and you took a view at it. And I mean, because right now I have 334 subscribers and I have 8,753 views, with almost 40,000 minutes viewed of me talking or my content. It's just like, I can't believe that much time has been watched of my stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the reason why it's happening because you're good at you're good at what you do, and people come to your videos, to watch your videos, and it just shows the strength of what you're doing on your channel.
No, I appreciate that, Pat. That means a lot. You got the same thing too, buddy.
I'm trying because at the minute I'm sort of how can I put it? I'm sort of stuck with the content. For example, I love doing races and death matches. Those are the things that I really do.
Yeah, I just watched your one today. That was awesome with the song in the background.
Yeah,
yeah, I was cracking up there. I'm like, that's good stuff right there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's what I enjoy doing. So I saw because I do like doing the Minecraft videos, but the issue I have is sort of not thinking on the spot, but thinking ahead of what I'm going to say. I mean, if it's written down, then I can, obviously that's what I might start doing is the bullet points, and just writing little headers down and doing it that way.
Word of advice, Pat, what I do, honestly, is I comment on what is happening in the game. I don't prepare anything.
Yeah.
I literally just whatever is happening in the game, I just recorded Watch Dogs video. It's part 25. I've only released up to part 22, but it's called Role Model. And as I'm starting the episode, there's this woman that walks by the screen, and I'm like, okay, I think we're gonna. Oh wait, oh hello, and I take the camera and I keep looking at her, and I'm like, and then I go back to my guy. I'm like, okay, now you know what? One more look. Oh, she's got a big badonkadonk. All right. Anyways, back on track, Wobowski. Let's start Role Model. That's what I find. I never prepare anything. I never. And with my jokes and stuff like that, a lot of times, Pat, I watch my video back and I'm like, why in the world did I even say that? Or how did I even come up with that? I don't even know. But one thing I really want to do is, because I'm sure in a lot of my videos, I say that's what she said.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and make a big montage, like 5 or 10 minutes long of me with a bunch of my that's what she said jokes.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's all about experience, and I think a lot of people on YouTube don't think about that or think about, getting better or what could I do differently and everything. And those are the type of people who, like you said, you're kind of in a rut, or not in a rut, but, trying to think of what to do. So am I. Like yesterday, I almost bought Sniper Elite 3 and I'm like, why would I buy this? That's not what my channel is about, and I'm no good at those games.
Yeah.
See, right now, I'm not playing any horror games because there's no horror games out for PS4 or anything, and that's what I started my channel, and what I thought about doing was only horror games. But I've kind of branched out into other things, which I think has helped, but I think I've lost some at the same time. You know what I mean? So sometimes I might go down 2 subs in a day, but I might gain, eight other subs, so I actually gain 6, and it's like, those 2 subscribers were probably people that came to my channel when I was playing Outlast Whistleblower. My first series that I did was Outlast. And I rewatched it. I'm like, it's actually not too bad. I'm like, but obviously it was my first ever video, so it doesn't have a ton of views. It's like, now I think now that I have more people, do I just re-release it?
Yeah.
But I'm like, why would I do that? At the start, I say, hey, this is my first ever video. Really, I could just actually put in my end card for people to go check it out. Why would I re-release it? It just seems like, I don't know, maybe if I was in a huge lull and I didn't know if I had nothing to put out, then maybe I would re-release it. But you know what I mean?
Oh, definitely, yeah. You've got one horror game coming in October, November, which is Alien Isolation.
Well, actually, the one that I'm looking forward to that's coming in October is the Evil Within.
That looks scary.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. And what was the other one? Like, I'm gonna do the Last of Us remastered.
Yeah, you need to. Yeah, that game. To be
That's
honest,
that's one of my favorite games of all time. I
Oh,
played it and beat it. The storyline, the graphics, everything about that game is just incredible.
perfect.
And I can't see them doing a sequel either.
They need because I've always been not always. I've been an Xbox fan and a PlayStation fan, but I got into the Xbox because a lot of my friends were on Xbox Live, and I thought, sod it, go for the Xbox. And then The Last of Us came out, and I thought it's a PS exclusive. So the only reason why I bought a PS 3 was for The Last of Us, and I think it was for Metal Gear Solid HD Collection as well. But The Last of Us was one of the main premises of me buying a PlayStation. Now, if they do, and I think they should release The Last of Us 2, then I will buy a PS4.
But see, the thing is, with if they do that, like, did you beat Last of Us, didn't you?
Yeah.
I don't see what the story would be. You know what I mean? Like, you could do it, but I don't think you could do it with those two characters. I don't see, the only way that I could see them doing it is if at the start or something, she found out that you lied to her. That's the only way that I could see it working, and you have to go find her or something like that, or she gets kidnapped. You know what I mean? Like, right after that happens. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. But I think what they should do is, instead of having it as a direct sequel, well, have it as a sequel, of course, but have it set in some years ahead.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And have her as like I'd say young 20-ish. And obviously, she's going to be battle hardened then, and then she can, obviously, somehow she finds out that what could even happen is you could have her. She found out in the space between the two games that.
Yeah, kind of like what they did with the Walking Dead game with Clementine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. I never thought about it that way.
And basically, she finds out about but basically he lied to her. So she was obviously ticked off, and she went off on her own. And that's when we catch up with the story. And something happens where she gets word that he's in danger, and she has to go out and rescue him. Something like that. Question time.
Really, you could just take all the stuff that we just talked about.
What made you decide to do YouTube?
What made me decide to do YouTube? Well, I've loved video games my entire life. Basically, when I was born, I think I came out with a video game controller out of my mom's womb, but that probably isn't what actually happened. But really, what made me want to do it is because of the fact that I've always loved video games, and I've always kind of been into radio and sports and commentating. And I'm like, you know what? I always play video games. So, and everyone is doing, kind of a YouTube type thing. I'm like, but I feel like I bring a different type of personality.
Yeah.
And, to, video games and my commentary. I think I'm a lot different with the way that I say things and do things in games. And that's basically why I did it, because I'm always playing. So why not record it? I use the kind of example when I was younger, my friends and I used to wrestle all the time. And then we're like, okay, we're kicking the shit out of each other. What? We have nothing to remember this by. Let's go buy a video camera and tape each other. So it's the same premise. That's exactly why I did it. And I'm so happy that I did. I've met so many amazing people.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I remember my very first gaming console, which was the Atari, and I moved on to the Commodore. But I've always been interested in gaming, and what really put me off doing gaming videos on YouTube was the amount of gaming channels that were out there, the mass of them, and obviously the popularity of a lot of them as well. And I thought, what can I do different? And that's when I said to you before that gap I had was, what can I do that was different? Didn't find everything I'd thought of had already been thought of. So, like I said before, I just decided to be me.
Well, yeah, and I've watched a lot of your stuff, and like the one that you just released that people definitely have to check out is the Independence Day episode that you just did for GTA 5. That's something that, other people don't think of. But at the same time, kind of like what you do on your channel and exactly what I do on my channel, you got to play what you love.
Yeah.
I see a lot of YouTubers or a lot of people on forums saying, oh, what game should I play next? Play what you want to play. Yeah. Because if you're not enjoying it, then your subscribers and your viewers aren't going to enjoy it. And then they're just going to click off your channel.
Going back to the Independence Day one that I did, it was the reason why I did that, because I've seen a lot of videos and it was explaining and people commenting on what, and I thought, I want to do something different. And I uploaded a video. I first uploaded it with the Star Spangled Banner, and I got a copyright, well, not a copyright, but a third-party acknowledgement.
Pat, I know exactly what you're talking about. I just reached 300 subs about a week ago, and I was so excited. What I actually did is I did a lip sync of Bone Thugs and Harmony Crossroads. I sent it to a couple people. It is so... I think it's hilarious because I honestly know all the words.
Yeah.
So it's not a cover song. It's just, I'm basically just mouthing the words and doing like, motions to it and everything.
Yeah.
And then right when I uploaded it, copyright notice. And I'm like, damn it, I can't publish it. So I just emailed it to some friends because I'm like, hey, please just watch this because I think it's really funny. And, I'll definitely send it to you. And anyone else who wants to see it, I'll definitely send it to, because I think it's really funny. I really want people to watch it.
I read somewhere that if you either speed up the song or slow it down, that it actually bypasses the copyright protection.
No way.
Flagging. I think so. I don't know. I mean, you could try it on your video. Why did I think of this before? You could try it out on the Bone Thugs one. Yeah, I should have done that on the Independence Day one, but I didn't think.
Yeah, see, right there, when you said it, you could go faster or slower. I could have said that's what she said there as well.
But you just did.
The other thing, I'm sure a lot of people have asked you, and I've been asked a lot as well, is how do you grow your channel so fast, or how do you grow your channel? I find there's so many smaller channels that, and YouTube is like you said, there's so many gaming channels, and a lot of people are out for themselves. They don't realize how much networking and forums and just being social and friendly can actually help their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you can totally agree. I know it's helped mine, but there's a difference. There's a difference of being social and everything to kind of just help yourself. But then you and I are both part of the Freedom Network. And if anyone is listening here and is not partnered with anyone, definitely go to freedom.tm and apply, because I think that you can agree with me, Pat. The nicest and best network you could probably be a part of.
I was rather surprised because I was actually wondering of which partner to go with, and I'd done all my research, and there was Freedom. There wasn't much said about Freedom. I thought, oh. So I popped along to the forums and I was reading. I thought, this actually seems like a relatively friendly place, so I'm going to apply and hope, because I've got YouTube partnership, so I thought, why not? So I did, and I got in, and it's probably the best move I did, because George, the CEO, as you said, what he's created is amazing. And like you said before, it's not just necessarily him, it's the community, but even George himself is so interactive with the partners. He is trying so desperately hard to help the people in his and even the people within the forums, even from the smallest of channels to the biggest of channels on Freedom, help each other out, and there seems to be no big-headed sort of anyone sort of being big-headed there. And
there's absolutely no person like that in the community, and if there was, then everyone would know about it, and that person would basically be exiled. And like I was saying before, the thing is there's being social and networking just to help yourself, but the way that I am and yourself and everyone in Freedom, also, I network a lot with, Pure Venom on Freedom, Camaro Gaming, Games Rush HG, ID'd Online. There's so many different people, and like with like I consider you now a friend, Pat, as well as the other people that I network and I've met on Freedom. It's friendships. It's not, hey, let's just help each other grow. It's a big family. Yeah. And it's like, okay, what can I do to help you? What can you do to help me? And freaking once we're at the top, let's freaking get there and enjoy it together.
Yeah.
But I don't care how big I get on YouTube. Like you said before, if I stay at 334 subscribers, for the rest of my YouTube life, which will be the rest of my actual life, then I'll be absolutely happy. But the one, there's, like I've started, it's called the, almost like you're doing with this podcast. I have a shout out series. It's called the Up and Comers YouTube shout out series, where I pick 6 channels that are subscribed to me. And I am subscribed to, I would say, probably 200 to 250 channels. And I look at almost every single one of those channels and watch their videos all the time and comment and, either trying to help them or saying how awesome it is and just being active. Not because, it's like a job, but because I find there are so many great small YouTube channels out there with a lot of talent. I don't even watch big YouTube stuff. And that's why with the YouTube Up and Comers shout out series that I created, I picked 6 channels that are sub to me. I do not even tell them that they're going to be on the shout out series. And people just watching out of nowhere. I've had many comments say, whoa, I did not expect to be on the shout out series. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I hope that it's helping everyone because I'm having a great time. And that's, just like, George has had with the Freedom Network. It's about helping each other grow. And this is just another thing with your podcast that you're starting with this episode and that I have with my series. It's all about what can I do to help you, not what do I have to do to help myself. Even if I had 3 or 5 subscribers, if one person watched my video a day and was laughing so much and it really made their day or put a smile on their face, that's all I want from this.
That's exactly what I want. Who inspired, if anyone, you to do YouTube?
You know what? No one really inspired me. It's one of those things that I used to always watch YouTube, and I would go to a bunch of different ones to watch walkthroughs and to find out how to get past certain parts. And it finally got to a point where I'm like, why am I watching people do this? I'm like, because like I do the same thing that they're doing, except they're, posting the videos and helping people. And I really didn't see, and we can say like PewDiePie has 25 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that, that the guy's funny. And I used to, watch his stuff. But it's just one of those things that, and I know that, he has certain things that he calls his people. And there's also the Rad Brad. He's the person that I used to watch the most. But when it comes to inspiring me to do YouTube, it was one of those things that I finally decided, you know what, this is something that I love. And I think I bring something different to the table. And I really feel like this was one of the things I was meant to do. Because I really feel like, from the comments that I've gotten, I really feel like people enjoy my content and it makes them laugh. And that is, I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I drink a little bit. But, I mean, that is honestly my high, is when in the comments someone says, ha, 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 or that was so funny, or, that's my high. I could say a that's what she said type of thing, but I feel like we're already at the 3 or 4 count. So, I'll wait until a little bit later for that. You know what, Pat? The one thing about when you start on YouTube that, inspired me for the YouTube shout out series, and like we talked about before we actually, started talking on the show as kind of a prep, is it's so hard to start up and actually start getting viewers and everything. And that's what's so great at Freedom. But the biggest thing that you need to realize, not necessarily you, but everyone listening, especially if you have a small channel, say you have 10 subs, you have 20 subs, you don't have a lot of views. Keep doing what you're doing. Never get down on yourself, because if you love what you're doing, and if you do commentary or not, you can, but especially if you do commentary, the people watching can see how much you love what you're doing, and that's why they come back. Yeah. Because this person is so into making this video for me, right? It's almost like they're, like I make my channels for all the people watching, and I'm constantly asking questions. You want to involve your viewers and your subscribers. It's not just you playing a game and you're just putting it on YouTube to show everyone yourself playing a game. It's basically like you're talking to them, because that's what it's about. And that was again one of my inspirations. I wanted to make a channel, and I want to do it where basically you're one of my good friends sitting next to me as we're playing the game.
Yeah.
And we're just shooting the shit like friends do. That's what it's about. Don't get discouraged, because just keep doing what you're doing, and like you and I have done, and other people, you can't be afraid to put yourself out there and say, hey, do you want to work with me? We could try some different stuff. We could do some networking. We can post on each other's pages, because as you get more and more likes and comments, then other people see that, and it comes in the search engines, and they're like, wow, there's like 50 comments on this video. It doesn't have a lot of views, but this must be some decent stuff. Maybe I'll check it out.
Next question. What games are you looking forward to?
Well, the biggest game I'm looking forward to right now is The Last of Us Remastered. Comes out on July 27th. I'm going to be playing it right away. I've already beat the game, but the remastered version looks unbelievable. The graphics are incredible, and I never did a Let's Play of Last of Us, so I'm really looking forward to that. The biggest game I'm looking forward to, though, is The Evil Within, which comes out in October. It's the next type of survival horror game. It's one of those games that I really feel like with the graphics, if they do this game right, it can be up there with the Resident Evils and the Silent Hills. And I know that is huge talk for a game that hasn't even came out yet, but from everything that I've seen, it looks really, really interesting. And then the game after that, of course, is Destiny. I feel like it's my destiny to play Destiny. I feel like the best ever. Actually, I'll go with two. The two best ever multiplayer games was Halo, especially Halo 2 for the Xbox, and also, maybe you'll agree with me, N64, GoldenEye.
GoldenEye is probably one of the best games, and also in my top 10 of all time. It is just
I just feel like the
phenomenal.
multiplayer. I feel like there's too many people that are in multiplayer now. Like before, in GoldenEye, it was only 4 people. In Halo, I think you could have up to 8 if you had 2 different TVs. Now you could have like 20 person death matches, and you're dead. Like I know me, one time I had, I think, 1 kill and like 25 deaths in one thing, and it's like I wasn't actually like standing for more than like 30 seconds, and that just frustrates me. But you know what? There's a lot of people who are really good at it, and it's just one of those things and that's why I watch, some people like Pure Venom is amazing at Call of Duty. Pauly D is really, really good at it. There's so many YouTubers that are great. JCG Gaming is freaking amazing, and I love watching those channels. Just I've seen Pokemon channels, which I'm not good at Pokemon or really like it, but I love watching it. And it's just cool to see the different ways that people do all these different games. Just like with my Watch Dogs, I watch probably 10 other people's Watch Dogs, and every single one is different. And that's what YouTube's all about.
The game I'm looking forward to, as we said before, Alien Isolation, is because that game has so much potential. And
it really does.
The idea that there's no... The AI of the alien, it is basically he wanders about. There's no specific path, so every time you play the game can be completely different, and everyone else's experience playing that game could be different. That in itself,
you do not see games like that.
If Isolation meets to expectations, and they promise on everything they've said about how the alien has adaptive AI, it doesn't have a path of its own. It reads and it smells the air and it can figure out. That is going to make that game completely amazing. And again, like you said, when you like watching videos, watching that game is going to be phenomenal, because every single video you watch might have a completely different outcome.
Exactly, Pat. And with almost every game nowadays, try to name a game. Try to name me 5 games that have replayability in a single player mission.
I can only name 2 that I've done.
You know, and like mine would be Last of Us.
That was one of mine.
And I, you know what? I'm not even done Watch Dogs, but I can almost guarantee that I'll play that again. But other than that, I cannot think of a single player game that I really was done in the game and said, yeah, you know what? I kind of want to play that that again in a little bit. I haven't had that lately, other than Last of Us. And that's why something like the Alien game, you could play it 3 or 4 times and it could be different each time, which is great.
2 games. One was The Last of Us, the other one was Tomb Raider. I thought Tomb Raider was a phenomenal game.
Now, see, I don't know what it is, but the only thing that I've watched from Tomb Raider, and I don't know if it's a secret fetish of mine or something, I watched all the death scenes from that game, and I loved them. I thought they were so awesome. I don't know if it's the blood and guts and the gore in it because I love playing horror games, but you know, I love the death scenes from Dead Space. I don't know what it is with me. I'm just weird. And that is something that she actually does say.
But I think it may be down to the creative way that these death scenes are done. I mean,
exactly. No, you got it exactly on the head. That's what she said. I totally agree.
I think just the creative. I mean, some of the scenes where the way she died was like, ow, wow, okay. Then you get to the next death scene. Wow, they've topped the other one, and it just
And you know, I want to say a couple of things, but if anyone's played it, I don't want to ruin it. But wow, I mean, you just don't see scenes like that, and it comes out of nowhere. And like, but that's the other thing, you know, like you were saying with Alien Isolation, is the fact that anything can happen at any time. That's what I love in games. You know, it's not one set, you know, A to B line on how to do the game or what's going to happen. You know, hey, there's so many different paths, and that's what I love about how they're doing gaming nowadays.
Well, they have to, don't they? Because the way gaming has been before, like you said, it was like an A to B sort of idea. And now Metal Gear Solid has stepped into the open wilderness. And the Phantom Pain looks absolutely phenomenal. That game is going to be epic. But
see, the one thing that I think is a big reason why some of these games, like Metal Gear and stuff, are still around, is because the originals were, and the storyline were so well done that people, you know, still go back to them and want to play. It's again, I use comparisons like I loved, you know, when I was younger, my family and I would watch all the Star Wars from 1, you know, or even years ago, 1 until 6 or 1 until 3. And with Metal Gear and say Resident Evil and these types of games, why are they so big? Because the whole storyline, you just get so involved into it, and it's so just amazing to play and watch everything play out. And I think that that's a reason, you know, for Metal Gear. I mean, Metal Gear was one of the first that kind of used the psychic type of thing. Do you remember that game for the N64 where the guy basically read your mind, or Solid Snake's mind, and really he was just reading your memory card?
Yeah,
you know, it's stuff like it's stuff like that you never forget, and you're like, I'm following this franchise forever because of moments like that, because stuff that you never thought of. And I think that that is why they have so much staying power now, because of the storyline that has been built up. It doesn't even matter, you know, like Resident Evil 6 was a huge bomb, but it still did pretty well, and there's still going to be a Resident Evil 7 because of the fact that, you know what, one bad game does not make a series.
No.
You know, and Metal Gear looks amazing. And at first I was kind of upset that they came out with that such a short game as kind of just like a preview of what was coming out. But you know what? It was great. It was short and sweet is what I thought it was.
I paid $19.99 for Ground Zeroes. The issue I have, the big issue I have when it comes to charging for games is the likes of Call of Duty, where you pay 60 quid, $60 for a game. Now, I love a good campaign. Now, Call of Duty pre Modern Warfare 3 had some awesome stories. Brilliant stories. Lengthy ones as well. After Modern Warfare 3, it all went online. So you're paying 60 quid for an online game initially.
Basically, yep.
And you got I think it was like 3 to 4 hour campaign. And it's ridiculous. What they should do, like I've said it many times, is have two versions. Have an online disc that's go to retail, and the story disc. So
I totally agree. That's a great idea.
Yeah, sell them separately. So for the people who want to play online, they pay, say, 30 quid. For anyone who wants to campaign, they pay 30 quid. Now, if you want both, it's going to cost you 60 quid, but they would have cost you that anyway if they didn't split it. So
now, see, like, these are great ideas, but you're talking about huge companies. It's never actually going to happen because it's about the money, and people will pay that much money for the game, even knowing that a lot of people probably don't even play the single player mission. It's really, it comes down to money. That's what it always has and always will with almost everything. It sucks, but as Frank Sinatra said, that's life. What
is your favorite game franchise?
My favorite game franchise is Resident Evil. I would say it's Resident Evil. Just because the characters, I just find like the backstories, and just from number one, you go through so much with them. You really feel like, like you're a part of the, of the STARS unit, and, and everything that they've been through, and with Chris and Jill and, Barry, and how Barry ends up showing up in another game. That's awesome. And Wesker, and the battle between Chris and Wesker, I think is just amazing. The storyline, the gameplay, it was the first game ever where I would walk around a corner and out of nowhere, this big, hunter jumps and just takes my head off. And I'm like, whoa, I've never seen that before in a game. This is awesome. It's like, and that's when I thought maybe I had a problem. Like, why do I think that's so cool how I just got killed? It's one of those things like, if I'm going to go, I want to go out that way. Like Leon just went out, or how Chris went out. But also the other gaming series that I loved before Resident Evil came out was Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VII, I think, is the best game of all time. And I really feel like they should remake it. But it would take so long to remake. The storyline in Final Fantasy VII and the gameplay will never be beat in my lifetime. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's why. But I feel after Final Fantasy X, they focused way too much on online, and it completely ruined the series. That's just my opinion. A lot of people like the one with I think the main character's name is Lightning. But after Final Fantasy X, I lost all interest once they put it into online. It's not that type of game. So I've that's why Resident Evil is my main favorite now. Even Resident Evil 6, I thought was a good game. But I can see why a lot of people didn't like it, because it wasn't exactly a Resident Evil type of game. They got more into the online and more characters. And I feel like a lot of companies now with video games, they think too much. Like you were saying, think back to Streets of Rage. Think back to Sonic the Hedgehog. Think back to, your favorite game, GoldenEye. There wasn't a lot of thought. It was side-scrolling, go and save the girl, or, beat this many levels, or, get to the end guy in the Kung Fu. And now they're overthinking it.
Yeah.
To kind of do a review, the UFC game that just came out. When the UFC Undisputed first came out for the PS3, it was amazing. Why? Because the gameplay was cool. It was pretty easy. It was kind of like a button masher, but when you got on the ground, you had to figure some stuff out. But you could also get knocked out at any time. You could be crushing a guy, but if he hit you in the right spot, bam, you're done.
Yeah.
The unpredictability was incredible. In the new UFC, they basically have a body at the top left and right corner of the screen, basically showing where your guy hurts the most. And once it's like deep red, you could get knocked out. So there goes everything that made your franchise great. The unpredictability that people look for in gaming. And that's why people, like you said, with Alien Isolation or Resident Evil, you don't know when someone's going to come and, slice your head off. That's what I think people look for in those types of games. And that's why I feel like the biggest thing that these gaming companies and producers and stuff should be looking at is the AI, and making them smarter and do different things, and kind of adapt to you as well, to make it harder, but also more interesting, because then you really have to plan and strategize yourself when you're going through these games or certain levels. That's what I feel that should be the biggest thing that's looked at, and that's something that they haven't done. And I sure hope that like I was talking about, and getting back to the question, we're still kind of on it, but Resident Evil 6, was a bomb in most parts. They really need to pick it up in Resident Evil 7, or they're going to lose a huge fan base that could all go to the Evil Within if they do it right.
My favorite franchises is Metal Gear, without a doubt. Is probably the best.
And you know what, you say Metal Gear, and I honestly I've never been into Metal Gear. I always got so frustrated with the first Metal Gear and all the sneaking around, and there wasn't really much action. So what is it about the Metal Gear series that really intrigues you? Is it the story? Because you've been talking so much about Metal Gear. I've really always wanted to ask someone who is really into Metal Gear, such as yourself. What is it about Metal Gear that I'm missing?
For me, I'm a huge stealth fan. I love the idea that you, like Wolfenstein, for example, where you can either go in guns ho, or you can take the stealthy route. I love games that give you an option like that, and that's the reasons why I love Metal Gear. And I remember seeing a article in the PlayStation magazine many years ago, back in '98, I think, when it was released, and it was saying everything, and there's a crafted story in there, which I love. I love conspiracies. I love the idea of the story that Metal Gear was giving out, that not everything is as it seems. And the story gripped me more than anything. Where do you think gaming is going to be in the future? I mean, is it going to be online? Is it going to be a box? I can see online being it, because obviously you got OnLive and you've got the PlayStation Now. Is it now where you can stream? Am I right? Where you can stream games straight off the net?
Yeah, it's coming out sometime this summer for the PS4. It's called PlayStation Now, where basically you can stream games, and I know that they also have Steam, where you can just buy games online and you can play any computer game. But in PlayStation Now, the thing about PlayStation Now is, I have a PS3 and I have a ton of games on it. For PlayStation Now, you'll be able to stream games, but any games you have on your PS3, you will not be able, it won't recognize it. So you're basically going to have to buy them again or stream them again.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of a piss off, but I really feel like they're really moving to online with almost every game, which is the way of the world. A lot of people play online. That's great. But you're losing a huge market that loves a good story. And I feel like they're going away from that. And I sure hope that they don't, because of the fact that there's so many people out there that love what I love. And that's a great story that you can really just get involved into the franchise. And that's how you build a franchise.
Yeah.
These new games and these new series like The Evil Within, I hope that you really get to know the character and you get to know the bad guys, and maybe you don't kill the bad guy at the end. I don't know what it is, but I think about it like movies. Why couldn't you play as the bad guy in the game, and you have a bunch of good guys coming at you? I just want to see that different perspective, and that's why sometimes I love games that have alternate endings, where say the bad guy wins or something, because you don't see that done.
Yeah.
And I would love to see something like that where you're fighting from the other side. It's not just, good defeats evil. Okay, yeah, that's great, but let's just see, how you develop a game from the other side. Why not try that out? But I don't think it's going to get there, because everything is going towards online, like we were talking about, and I just feel like it's going to ruin a lot of things, and I'm just really hoping that that they don't go the route that I think. But I think at some point, a lot of stuff is going to be almost like a upgraded virtual. Remember that Virtual Boy? Is that what it was called? That you put on your head. Yeah. A lot of people are playing types of games like that right now, and I know that Sony made their own to compete with. I don't even know what it's called, but a lot of horror games.
Is it
what's it called?
The Oculus?
Yeah, the Oculus. Well, Sony coming out with their own, which I cannot wait, because I would love to play it. And a lot of people are making videos of people playing that. I watched one video where one guy, he was standing up, and I guess you should never stand up when you're playing this game, in this system.
Yeah.
So he walked right into his TV, and it was hilarious. But I feel like that's another thing. People want to feel like they are fully in the game. And I feel like at some point in the future, it's going to be like that, where you are basically like your whole self is actually in the game. I think that eventually that's what it's going to get to. And I think that's what people want. Say Call of Duty, if you could pretend like you're holding a gun or something, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be someone working on that sort of technology. And when it hits the markets, it's going to just explode the video game industry into, a stratosphere that we don't even know yet. You think you know, but you don't know.
This technology might be released tomorrow, but it's not. The normal consumer, the normal gamer, is not going to be able to get it until more competitors come into the field. And if the competition isn't there, and Sony and Microsoft are the only ones who hold this technology, they can charge whatever they want.
Exactly. I feel like they need to give away more games with the system. With how much games are nowadays, I know they have gotten into giving away like a new game, or they give away a game, or like PlayStation does it with the 1 year of the PlayStation Plus. But if you give like say 3 or 4 games to someone, they're really going to feel like you actually care about them, and you want to because if they're paying $500 or $600 for a system, how many people have the money to buy a $50 controller for a second controller and a $60 game to go along with that system? Yeah. I mean, you're basically buying the system, and then you got to save up just to get a game and a controller. I feel like every system should come with a second controller and at least 1 or 2 games. And then I think people would really feel like these big companies care about them, not just as gamers, but as people, because they understand the money constraints that a lot of people have.
Who is your favorite game character?
My favorite game character, you know what? That's a great question. Again, I would have to say that it's wow. You really got me with that one. I was not expecting that. But I would definitely say if I had to choose, it would be. It would probably be Leon from Resident Evil. Just how he's been through so much, but he still kicks ass.
Yeah,
and he just seems like a cool dude. But when you're talking, and then you go to the other side, my favorite video game character as a female has always been. Actually, it's a tie. It's a tie between it's Jill Valentine. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I've always thought that she was one of the coolest chicks in gaming, and she just kicks ass, and she looks great while doing it. And it was awesome playing as her in Resident Evil 1 and in Resident Evil 3. And I love how just her whole story and the backstory to her and the backstory of Leon are just awesome. And the other two, I mean, it goes along with my favorite games. The other two are Cloud from Final Fantasy VII and Aeris. I just thought that they were. I mean, Cloud was probably the coolest guy, and it might be his big sword. That's what Aeris calls it.
That's what she said.
See, now you're getting it, Pat. That's awesome. And to see the relationships between these characters. But if I had to pick one, I definitely think that it would be Leon. He just kicks ass, and is just such a cool character with a great backstory. And every game that he's been in, I feel like he really took Resident Evil to that next step.
Yeah. With
Resident Evil 2, and I think that that's one of the reasons why Resident Evil is where it is today. How about you?
Me, Lara Croft is probably one of the greatest characters ever created.
And hottest.
Yeah, definitely. And then Ella from The Last of Us. I think she is just one of the best characters ever created. She's phenomenal.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, Ellie from Last of Us is a really cool character, and like we talked about, maybe a sequel. Almost like with the Come Time, she could be a main character in a sequel. She has that capability with
definitely.
what they built with her.
I mean, because what really stood out for me was when you play her, or whether you play her in the game or play alongside her, you don't think she's 14.
No, not at all.
She acts so, because she's been through so much and she's had to mature very, very quickly. You don't get that impression that you're playing with a like a kid, which could be very off-putting because you'd expect to look after this kid, but this kid can actually look after you. And spoiler alert, guys, you sort of save Joel. You know what I mean? So the character has so much potential to be a Lara Croft type character where it's just absolute badass, and she has that potential.
You know what? I never thought about it that way, but yeah, she definitely could develop into that if they go for it, if they go for a sequel. Because you know what, a lot of games or a lot of stuff they kind of do the Seinfeld route, like, oh, you know what, let's just quit while we're ahead.
Yeah.
Like, I thought Heavy Rain was a great game, but then they went off in another direction and they decided to not do a sequel. I mean, and then I don't know, like Beyond Two Souls, which is kind of like Heavy Rain, was a huge bust. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to go for it, and that's what I think they got to do with Last of Us, just to see if this character can reach that potential.
Oh, definitely. And I think if they have a great story, and a great script, go for it. But don't sit around the table thinking, right, we'll just do this then. We'll just do that. Because you can basically ruin the whole journey of the game, because you'll play number one, then you'll play number two, and you'll feel so let down. You're thinking, you've just ruined the franchise. You've completely destroyed it. So unless I agree with you, they shouldn't make one. But they should if they have a really good story and a really good script. And
you almost want to say, don't do it for the money. Do it because you want to make it. But again, it's hard to tell that to game developers. The world is about money, money, money. How can I get more money? And that's what a lot of companies do.
Yeah.
But and that's why a lot of people, I feel, I think indie games, the way that I look at indie games is, indie games are like, I'll compare it to football. Indie games are like college football.
Yeah.
And the bigger games are like pro football. In pro football, you've already made the big time. You don't really have to prove yourself. You put something out there and you're going to make millions. Well, with indie games, people have never heard of these things. So you got to put your best effort into every single second of that game.
Yeah.
If you want to, get up to the big time or to get a lot of sales. And that's why I find a lot of indie games are better than the bigger games right now.
Who is your favorite game villain?
My favorite game villain is definitely Wesker from Resident Evil. I mean, the guy is so cool that he's one of those characters that, like I was saying, you want to play it from his standpoint once. Because I'm sure that there's so much, going on, not just with his character, but also like behind the scenes, like, kind of his, how he got to where he is and kind of his journey through all of the games. I would love to see that, because when he's actually in the games, when he's in Resident Evil 6 and when he's in Resident Evil 1 and when he's in all the, Code Veronica, I mean, this guy is just dominant.
Yeah.
And you just don't know how in the world did the guy get like that. I know that they kind of give a backstory to it, but I'm very surprised that Resident Evil has never done like the Albert Wesker Chronicles to show his kind of playthrough of the game.
That's a nice
and
idea.
facing Chris and Jill. Because he is so, I feel like that is another potential thing that they could do. I know what, stuff has happened to Wesker in the past games, but I still feel like that's something that people would like. And I think he's definitely my favorite bad guy of all time. No doubt.
So
how about you? Would yours be like a Metal Gear?
I'm going to pass on that.
You can't pass.
I can't pass. What do you...
Yeah, I'm putting the pressure on. That's what she said style.
I don't know.
You know what? I'll allow it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. I'm just looking after you.
Now, obviously, you're a Resident Evil fan. What did you make of the films?
You know what? I was never a fan of the films. The only thing that I'm a fan of when it comes to the films is that they went in a different direction with it, which I thought was great. It was basically made from the games, but they didn't take the story from the games. If you know what I mean, they kind of just, it went off into its own type of Resident Evil type of thing. So that's the biggest thing. That's why I don't like the movies, but I respect the movies because they could have ruined the video game by having a terrible movie.
Yeah.
If they would have just based it off of that.
Oh, definitely.
And I really feel like they thought Resident Evil the game is so good that we can't even try to affect it by doing it how that game is. And that's why I respect it. And it's had so many movies that obviously there's a huge fan base, for zombie type of movies and for like that. And the main character, does a great job. And, so even though I'm not a fan of it, I respect it. And it's done it right. It hasn't gone the direction of a lot of other, movies that were based off of video games where they just take everything from the game and try to put it into a movie, and it's just a bunch of stars, like big Hollywood people in it, and it ends up awful. They went with some lower name people, and it's been successful, and that's awesome to see. I feel like the Walking Dead video game and The Wolf Among Us, I feel like those are kind of like movies, and you're dictating where the movie goes.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel when I'm playing it. Actually, my Walking Dead series, I've done all of the episodes so far, so if anyone wants to watch them, I do it where I'm a jerk to absolutely everyone. So I call it the jerk edition of the Walking Dead game. And not only is my character a jerk, I'm a huge jerk in the game, too. And that's not going to stop, and and you don't see a lot of those versions there. No. So it's been a lot of fun to make, but I feel like they're missing out also, like the movie industry, on doing something like that where you dictate maybe not who's going to die, but what the decision. Say there's two people, and you can only save one of them. Well, in the movie theater, or you choose, if you want to save, Clara, push 1, or if you want to save Barbara, push 2. And, the story changes depending on what you pick. I feel like that's something that people would love and really get interactive with people. I feel like there could be a big fan base for that. People love having the choice and love being able to dictate what happens, or again, the replayability, not just of a game but of a movie. Oh, what if I would have picked Barbara instead of Clara?
Yeah.
I just, and maybe it's just me, but that's something that I would love to have the option of when watching a movie.
That would be awesome if you were like, for example, if you're watching a film and a character came on that you didn't like and you thought, right, you're off now. I choose Dean to get killed, and you can off the characters you don't like. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And and the whole movie changes or goes off of your decisions, just like, and that's what people loved about The Walking Dead season 1, is there were so many different choices, and in episode 3, one of the characters would say, "Oh, remember what happened back here? That's why I'm not going to help you now." And you're like, "Oh my God, it actually did matter what I did back then."
Yeah.
And obviously, no one helps me in my Walking Dead game series because, I'm just a huge jerk, and it's just awesome. Like I always say, I'm not an ass, but I play one in real life.
If you can mash 2 games together, which games would they be?
Wow! If I could mash 2 games together, which
any 2 games ever created, if you can mash them both together to make one game, and you have to come up with a title as well. So we're gonna make it harder for you.
Wow, that is a. You know what? Well,
if you want 10 minutes, I can go and put the kettle on.
Yeah, I need a minute to think about this. This is that's a great question. Just because there's so many great characters, but if I had to do it, I would probably mesh Silent Hill and Resident Evil.
Wow.
And the reason why I would do that is they're both the same kind of genre, but the characters act differently in the environments, along with the enemies in the environments. And I would say that the title, you could go a couple different ways. You could go with Silent Evil.
Yeah.
Or you could go with Resident on the Hill.
Yeah.
But if I would probably, or you know what, you could go, Residential Silence. But you know what, I think the best name for that would just be Pure Evil. The one game that I loved was Kingdom Hearts, because they took a bunch of characters from all of Disney basically and meshed them all together. And a lot of times they would have to work with each other or whatever. I think it would be cool to see, like say Watch Dogs, Aiden Pierce meet up with Solid Snake. It would be cool if you could mesh games together like that and just see, how they work together in the type of story. Kind of like how, if an enemy, and a protagonist, like say for some reason in Resident Evil, Leon and Albert Wesker had to work together, for a greater good, to kind of save, hey, you know what? I hate you, but this bad thing is going to take out both of us. And we both kind of want to live. So we're going to put our issues aside for now. And we're going to fricking try to destroy this whole, planet that decided to come down and try to kill, all of, the STARS members, and they're both a part of it. Yeah, they're enemies, but they kind of collaborate like YouTubers do and just go off and put their issues aside, and they just try and, crush everyone. So I just think that would be cool. I think just by you saying that, that question, I think that these are the type of ideas that companies need to think about, because there's another big, amount of gamers and viewers that would love to see something like that. Hey, how would Leon be in the Silent Hill world, or how would the Silent Hill character be in say The Evil Within? Those types of things. It'd be really cool to see the different environments and the different reactions.
I think we should have Solid Snake in Mario. I think that would be phenomenal.
Call it Super Snake?
Super Mario Snake?
Or Metal Gear Mario.
If you could be a game character, who would it be?
If I could be a game character, who would it be?
Yeah.
I think that would definitely have to be Cloud. Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. Just because he was so cool. And really he got all, like, think of the hot women that he got. He got Tifa, he got Eris.
Spoiler! Woot, woot. Spoiler!
Jessie loved him before she died in the game. I would definitely say Cloud, just because he got all the girls, he kicked ass, and it was so fun playing as him. So it'd be really cool to be him. How about you?
I'd probably be Raiden out of Metal Gear. I think Raiden was such a badass character, absolute. I mean, in Metal Gear Solid 2, he was a bit of a whimsy character. He was a bit of a girl, but then he came back in Patriot Games, and he was just a different character, and it was just wow. Okay, this is amazing. Then he came back in Rising, and I just thought, what an amazing character he is. Radio-wise, what got you into radio? I mean, is it a passion, or was it just something you fell into, or is it something that you've always wanted to do?
Well, it's not that it was something that I always wanted to do. I actually had always been into acting, and I did acting throughout my whole, when I was younger and in high school. I took drama 5 times in high school.
Wow.
And I actually got in. So that's what I wanted to do as a career with my life, because I was a very good actor and could do a lot of different roles. At first I started as just doing funny roles because that's who I was, but I actually started getting into doing serious roles, and they were actually a lot more fun in showing emotion. Yeah. And I actually got into a school in New York that was located right on Broadway. It's called AMDA, the American Music and Dramatic Academy. It's right near Juilliard. But I ended up not being able to go there because it was $60,000 a year.
Wow.
So I took a year off, and then my friend told me about this school in Southfield, Michigan, that did radio. And radio is, it's entertainment, and it's at the same time, like there's talking, and I love sports talk. And I used to always, whenever we would get together with friends or family, I would always commentate, games as they were being played, and give stats. I remember one of my parents' friends. I knew so much stats and who might win or whatever, and he was a big gambler. He would always ask me who was going to win, and I would never know why he would ask me, but he would bet thousands of dollars based on what I was saying. Wow. So that's why I'm like, you know what? It would be so amazing if I could do for the rest of my life, do sports, and do sports talk. So I went to Specs Howard School of Broadcast Arts in Southfield, Michigan for 2 years, and it was the most amazing experience ever. And I got an internship with the sports talk station, and that's when I got doing the on-air personalities and meeting a ton of people in the sports industry. Just from college football, I met Joe Paterno and Lloyd Carr and Kyle Orton and Braylon Edwards and Marlon Jackson and Jim Tressel, and talked to so many different people. Tony Romo and, Matt Stafford, and having to call these people and get them onto the show. But then after that, once I finally got into the position that I'm in now as the head producer and doing, calling up people to come onto the show and talking to celebrities and talking to, local markets and, playing the music and all that stuff. Really, I find like that has helped me so much with my YouTube as well.
Yeah.
I think that comes off. I've had experience doing this type of thing, so it's a little bit easier for me than it would be someone else that's just going straight off of just playing video games.
Well, like me.
To doing YouTube, because you know what? I know how to talk, and I'm not nervous to talk because as you know, just from this podcast, I love to talk. But also I've developed how to talk in certain situations based on kind of what is happening, and and that comes from radio, and it comes from acting, and it comes from just experience in life. I've gone through a lot of things in my life, and they've all made me who I am today, and hopefully that's a really good, helping, loving person.
No, man, you're absolutely awesome. I want to thank you, Will, for coming on and having a chat today.
No, thank you so much, Patrick. I really appreciate you, choosing me to be the first one on your podcast. I've had so much fun, and we've talked so much more than I thought we were going to. And, I just wanted to say thank you so much. And everyone that's listening, thank you for listening. You guys are all amazing. And, hopefully I can be back soon in the future, and hopefully we can do a collab sometime, Pat.
Oh, definitely. I've got a few ideas bouncing around my head.
No, I'm up for it anytime. I appreciate the time, and good luck with everything. I'll keep making amazing videos, and I'll keep watching them.
You too.
Thanks, Pat.
No problem. Thank you very much, man.
Like, especially with radio and everything, and I go on the air almost every day with our host and everything, and I'm constantly like critiquing myself, and I've noticed that I say yeah, no, or or and it's just one of those things that because I have experience in radio and stuff like that, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of subscribers and viewers don't see a problem, but it's like I know how it is when it comes to radio and stuff. Yeah. So it's a little bit different, but getting back to freedom, it's just I don't know. I mean, what George has created, but I don't think it's just George. It's all of us in the community, like actually just helping each other, and doing whatever we can and giving feedback and stuff like that. And like you said, like right now I have 334 subscribers, and I've been on YouTube for 4 months, and I never would have thought this. I remember at the start reading all that stuff about sub for subs and buying views and stuff. I'm like, you know what? I've never done anything like that in my life. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it the right way, and I'm never going to take a route like that. That's just not in my DNA. My dad always said, if you're going to do something, do it right. Yeah. And give it 100%, or don't do it at all.
Well, for me, it doesn't make sense to go for sub because that it might help your subs grow, but you're still you're still not getting people going onto your videos. If it's a sub for sub, they might not even be interested in what videos you do. It's just for a sub. So it's not beneficial to either party, because I'll be flooding their timeline with videos that they don't want to watch. And I'll be having someone in my in my subscriptions box who doesn't want to be there. I would, like yourself, I'd never go for sub, because it doesn't benefit anyone. It
doesn't. And then you got other people, like I never thought, like I loved doing the up and comers, but I never thought it would get the reaction that it's getting. I mean, people absolutely love it. And I think the one thing that's different that I think really helps is the fact that a lot of people, whenever they do a shout out series, you have to sub to my channel, or you have to comment on 5 videos or whatever. It's like, no, if you're sub to me, I just look, if I like your content, you'll eventually. Well, actually, the one that I'm looking forward to that's coming in October is the Evil Within.
That looks scary.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. And what was the other one? Like, I'm gonna do the Last of Us remastered.
Yeah, you need to. Yeah, that game. To be honest,
that's one of my favorite games of all time. Oh. I played it and beat it. The storyline, the graphics, everything about that game is just incredible.
Perfect.
And I can't see them doing a sequel either.
They need because I've always been not always. I've been an Xbox fan and a PlayStation fan, but I got into the Xbox because a lot of my friends were on Xbox Live, and I thought, sod it, go for the Xbox. And then The Last of Us came out, and I thought, it's a PS exclusive. So the only reason why I bought a PS 3 was for The Last of Us, and I think it was for Metal Gear Solid HD Collection as well. But The Last of Us was one of the main premises of me buying a PlayStation. Now, if they do, and I think they should, release The Last of Us 2, then I will buy a PS4.
But see, the thing is, with if they do that, like, did you beat Last of Us, didn't you?
Yeah.
I don't see what the story would be. You know what I mean? Like, you could do it, but I don't think you could do it with those 2 characters. I don't see, the only way that I could see them doing it is if at the start or something, she found out that you lied to her. That's the only way that I could see it working, and you have to go find her or something like that, or she gets kidnapped, you know what I mean? Like, right after that happens. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. But I think what they should do is, instead of having it as a direct sequel, well, have it as a sequel, of course, but have it set in some years ahead.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And have her as like I'd say young 20-ish, and obviously she's going to be battle hardened then, and then she can obviously somehow she finds out that what could even happen is you could have her. She found out in the space between the 2 games that.
Yeah, kind of like what they did with the Walking Dead game. Actually, be on the show. I'm not going to tell you. You just got to watch the episode, and you might be on there.
Yeah, fair enough.
You see all over YouTube, call to action, tell people to subscribe. It's like, you know what? I'll tell them to, hit the like button if they like it. And if they're not subscribed, if you want to subscribe, cool. If not, then, then that's great, And if you don't, then, well, at least you came by my channel and you took a view at it. And I mean, because right now I have 334 subscribers and I have 8,753 views with almost 40,000 minutes viewed of me talking or my content. It's just like, I can't believe that much time has been watched of my stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the reason why it's happening, because you're good at you're good at what you do, and people come to your videos, to watch your videos, and it just shows the strength of what you're doing on your channel.
No, I appreciate that, Pat. That means a lot. You got the same thing too, buddy.
I'm trying because at the minute how can I put it? I'm sort of stuck with the content. For example, I love doing races and death matches. Those are the things that I really do.
Yeah, I just watched your one today. That was awesome with the song in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was cracking up there. I'm like, that's good stuff right there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's That's what I enjoy doing. So I saw, because I do like doing the Minecraft videos, but the issue I have is sort of not thinking on the spot, but thinking ahead of what I'm
Yeah.
going to say. I mean, if it's written down, then I can, obviously that's what I might start doing is the bullet points, and just writing little headers down and doing it that way.
Word of advice, Pat, what I do, honestly, is I comment on what is happening in the game. I don't prepare anything.
Yeah.
I literally just whatever is happening in the game. I just recorded Watch Dogs video. It's part 25. I've only released up to part 22, but it's called Role Model. And as I'm starting the episode, there's this woman that walks by the screen. And I'm like, okay, I think we're gonna. Oh wait, oh hello, and I take the camera and I keep looking at her, and I'm like.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Patrick Fox Show. I have Will Bolsky here. He's going to be the guest for today. We're going to be talking about gaming, mostly talking about why he got into YouTube and stuff like that. So, Mr. Will, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, Pat.
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm always good.
Yeah. It's like I was explaining to a friend of mine. He was saying, "How many subscribers do you want to get to?" And it's like, if I just say I reach 400 and I stay at 400 my whole YouTube career, I'm be so grateful for that. But there'd be 400 people in the world that want to watch my content, and for me, even now that's still amazing to me. Like, wow, 400 people actually want to listen to what I have to say.
No, Pat, I totally agree with you because I keep thinking, it's kind of funny because. My whole family and my wife and stuff don't think I'm funny, but every single person on the comments says that I'm hilarious. And it's like, okay, I don't even know what I am anymore.
But it's not necessarily being fun in the way of, how can I put it? It's unintentional humor, if you know what I mean. It's the personality more than anything
I mean,
else.
That's the thing. I've always been into, I work in radio. And I used to do acting when I was younger, and actually got into an acting school in New York and stuff. And it's just I absolutely love playing video games, and I've always kind of talked to myself during video games. So then finally, I'm like, yeah, I know I'm 31, but this is something that I love to do, and it's awesome.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I sat around for a while and thinking, what can I do different? What can I do that's different to what's out there? And every time I thought I came up with an original idea, someone had done it. So it's like, why not just do what I enjoy doing? And if people want to watch it and subscribe and comment and like, then it's a bonus.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Because whenever I rewatch my videos, I laugh my ass off because I'm like I don't know. I always then I go back to my guy. I'm like, okay, now you know what? One more look. Oh, she's got a big badonkadonk. All right. Anyways, back on track, Wolbowski. Let's start Role Model. That's what I find. I never prepare anything. I never, and with my jokes and stuff like that. A lot of times, Pat. I watch my video back and I'm like, why in the world did I even say that? Or how did I even come up with that? I don't even know. But one thing I really want to do is, because I'm sure in a lot of my videos, I say, that's what she said.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and make a big montage, like 5 or 10 minutes long of me with a bunch of my that's what she said jokes.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's all about experience. And I think a lot of people on YouTube don't think about that or think about, getting better or what could I do differently and everything. And those are the type of people who, like you said, you're kind of in a rut, or not in a rut, but, trying to think of what to do. So am I. Like yesterday, I almost bought Sniper Elite 3 and I'm like, why would I buy this? That's not what my channel is about. And I'm no good at those games.
Yeah.
See, like right now, I'm not playing any horror games because there's no horror games out for PS4 or anything. And that's what I started my channel. And what I thought about doing was only horror games. But I've kind of branched out into other things, which I think has helped. But I think I've lost some at the same time. You know what I mean? So sometimes I might go down 2 subs in a day, but I might gain like eight other subs. So I actually gain 6. And it's like, those 2 subscribers were probably people that came to my channel when I was playing Outlast Whistleblower. Like, my first series that I did was Outlast. And I rewatched it. I'm like, you know, it's actually not too bad. I'm like, but obviously it was my first ever video, so it doesn't have a ton of views. It's like, now I think, now that I have more people, do I just re-release it?
Yeah.
But I'm like, why would I do that? At the start, I say, hey, this is my first ever video. Really, I could just actually put in my end card for people to go check it out. Why would I re-release it? You know, it just seems like, I don't know, maybe if I was in like a huge lull and I didn't know if I had nothing to put out, then maybe I would re-release it, but you know what I mean.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You've got one horror game coming in October, November, which is Alien Isolation.